she's taking over CNN now. And she's now isolated herself on the 6th floor of CBS where she can no longer see the staff and they cannot approach her.
Is that true?
That is correct. And she's guarded by guards.
What?
Yes, this is in the news. She's in a bunker surrounded by guards. She's in a militarized zone.
Bari in the bunker and Ellison at the gates. Is this real?
I like her more now, and she hates me, and that's sad.
Why does she hate you?
Well, I've said things, but here's the thing.
Did she start hating you after your hilarious impression?
She turned on me a while ago. She texted me and was like, you're part of a world in which people are anti-Semitic. What? What am I doing? What is this guilt by association? I don't like this.
Part of a thing that's anti-Semitic.
She's applying the same principles that she supposedly didn't like. If you're willing to have a conversation with somebody, you endorse every one of their views. Question something like Israel, you hate Israel, or you hate Jewish people, which is insane.
Right.
I thought she was the one who was like, we should have nuance on the trans issue. What happened to that?
Right.
What happened to being able to question gender ideology and all these things? Why are we holding space for nuance? Bear. But she's living her best life, as people would say. This is what she was meant to do. And when someone steps into their truth, I support them. She's exactly where she should be, in a bunker guarded by the military while she systematically destroys CBS. She's stepping into her truth. She was put there to destroy it. She wasn't put there to make it work.
Paramount Skydance bought Weiss' online outlet, The Free Press, for a cool $150 million as she became editor-in-chief of CBS News. That's a lot of money for the Free Press.
No, she would get 7,000 YouTube views. There's got to be room for nuance. Like, October 7th was horrible. Hamas is not good. We all know this. However, you also cannot look at what's gone on the last few years and think that Israel is not, number one. I call it a genocide. People can call it anything they want. It's a campaign of mass murder where a lot of people have died. Civilians have died. Many children have died. People that are innocent have died. They're starting to do something similar in southern Lebanon. They're now talking about Turkey. Turkey's a NATO fucking country. The idea that any criticism of Netanyahu or the Israeli government or Israel or our relationship with Israel or the money makes you anti-Semitic is an insane thing. It's the exact thing that she fought against in race and gender. But when it came to that one issue, she seems very incapable of understanding any nuance or gray area or complexity.
No, she is all in for Israel.
It was a heavily inflated price for her blog. There's clearly a political agenda to this. Billionaires that own all of these companies were asked to believe she's the most qualified for the job. Do we have any trust left in these institutions? People that work there are leaving and saying, I'm being asked to insert things into this that isn't true.
Driving the car towards the officer. That's just not technically correct. It seems like she was steering it away. Why would they want to say something that's not correct when you could just see it in a video? If you were running a newsroom, that would be the last thing you would want to do, is contradict something that's obviously verifiable. For what reason would you sacrifice your credibility?
Because their main demographic is 70-year-olds who are having strokes on their couch. They're not verifying this. And it allows them to dismiss it. Justifiable shooting.
Somebody's motivating them to do that for those people.
For sure. Yeah.
Why?
Because she's in the tank for Trump. He's useful in the sense that he's going to go in and topple the regime in Iran, bring Harvard College to heel. And again, a lot of this is just connected to her view that Israel's interests are always 100% concurrent with America's. And Trump gets that and he understands that. So she's in the tank for Trump. It seems to be that this is her big issue.
Disturbing thing to a lot of people. Like, how much influence do they really have on this country? That's what creeps people out. No one even really considered it before October 7th. Nick Fuentes considered it. But it wasn't like it was an openly discussed thing amongst young people.
Well, it's also in direct opposition to the stated goal of the Trump administration, which is to repair the United States, make it great and to elevate it and to focus on the United States, not go into Middle Eastern wars, which was a huge, very popular plank of his platform, not waste money and saddle ourselves with debt and mire ourselves in these unwinnable wars. And there was such a gaslighting campaign. The Secretary of State came out after the Iran war and goes, well, Israel's going to attack them anyway, and our bases were going to be vulnerable, so we had to join. And then he went, no, I didn't mean that. It hasn't worked. It's clearly not in the interest of the United States to be in a Middle Eastern war with Iran. Tons of Jewish people don't believe it is. From all walks of life don't believe it. But there's an ideological group of people, donate a lot of money, incredibly powerful, and they are really pushing this. They're pushing troops and they're pushing nukes. They don't care what it takes. Iran has to be either completely destroyed or it's just got to be a chaos zone. But for the regional ambitions of Israel, they can't exist. What is the motive? Certain massive big donors, the strength and prosperity of America, or is it the strength and prosperity of Israel? That's a fair question.
Yeah. How much are we putting ourselves at odds with the rest of the world?
Indescribably the worst PR ever. You've got to be a very ideological person to justify southern Lebanon, Gaza, Iran, perhaps Turkey. This is like a friend you have who you make excuses for a certain amount of time, and then your wife eventually goes, they're not allowed here. They're not coming to the house, and they can't be around the kids.
The thing that drives me crazy is the negotiators.
They kill all the negotiators.
And
They're
then
killing
Trump
the
tells
Iran
them-
deal. We're at odds with Israel for the first time, where Trump is really at odds with them, and he's had enough. And I think he is starting to understand that his legacy will be permanently tainted if he doesn't find a way to extricate us from this war.
It's weird because it's so transparent. The amount of gaslighting that you have to keep pumping, it's not sustainable.
Well, to say that this was in America's interest, you have to jump around logically so much.
Well, this is also the problem with the justification of what happened in Gaza. Look at the drone footage. Fly over that. If that's the best you can do, that's crazy. Is that better than a nuke? Because I don't think it is.
It's inhumane.
It looks like the damage of a nuke just spread out over 2 years instead of one blast.
It's inhumane. It's evil. It's children being killed. It's mothers being killed in front of their children. And by the way, October 7th was inhumane, but I shouldn't have to keep doing that.
Of
Do you know
course
what
you
I
shouldn't
mean?
have to do that. It's also like, why did it take so long to respond to that?
Well, this is another very interesting, very important question. There's a lot of people that say it's a state the size of New Jersey. The security failure is pretty wild, and there hasn't been a real investigation into them. And Netanyahu's kind of prevented that. And they've kind of made it illegal to question that in Israel. They've made a law, and you can look this up, about things like this in Israel, because during wartime, have they had an election since October 7th?
No.
Right. They haven't had an
suspended
election.
because of the war, right?
Right. And the Ukraine hasn't had an election. Nobody's had an election. So if I'm living in a country and the leader of my country just wants to be in a war forever, there's no democracy?
Clinton said that
Yeah.
about Netanyahu. He said he
Yeah.
wants to maintain a war.
Right. But the only thing that makes me personally happy is that Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump just bought an island.